So if it seems as if everyone around you is able to afford life but you,
That's because they.
I think I like this little life.
Are we tired of laughing off the ridiculousness yet? Because I get it. Whenever I talk about economic struggle with friends, with family, I'm almost always laughing. My generation, Gen Z and millennials, have learned to laugh off uncomfortable and scary situations. But this shit is never funny. This pair is sitting in a seemingly luxury style apartment and they cannot afford heat. And what's worse is us younger generations of adults, Gen Z, millennials, we are often ridiculed for our economic choices. Older generations truly believing that we are choosing luxury over necessity 90% of the time. Older generations truly believe that we can't afford to buy a house because of our choices. Older generations like to believe that every generation has struggled, but our generation is choosing to struggle. But young adults like this pair are no longer choosing between luxury and necessity. They are choosing between necessity and necessity.
so if it seems as if everyone around you is able to afford life but you,
That's because they lying. Okay, everybody's not gonna tell you the truth about their financial situation. Some people ain't even living in reality. Okay, some people are just making a way out of no way. Everybody ain't gonna tell you that they was able to go on their vacation because they didn't pay their light bill this month. Everybody ain't gonna tell you that they was able to get that new bag because they put their car in deferment for 2 months. They're not gonna tell you that. Okay? All you can do is what you can do. And don't look at what everybody else is doing because everybody ain't telling the truth. Everybody ain't living in reality. Okay? Stop expecting people to be honest with you because you honest with them. It don't always work out like that. Okay? It's people out here struggling. I don't care what they post online. I don't care what you see. They struggling. It's a reality.
And working in California more enjoyable. Let's start with the minimum wage.
We can start with the minimum wage, but let's be honest. It was $15 yesterday. Now it's $16. You're not fooling anybody anymore. I once thought, oh, it's a new year, I'm going to get a raise. Then I realized, no, it just increases with the year. You're not fooling people. $16 an hour? That's not a raise. This is an increase for the cost of living. From 15 to 16. And what gets me is that some employers will put $16.23. What the fuck? I'm not even going to see that 23 cents. If I'm being honest, I have to work 60 hours just to hopefully see $900 net. Not even what you get to take home. California, not fooling nobody, man. Get your shit together and pay these people more. We deserve more. Shit.
Why are all of these places hiring, but won't fucking hire someone?
1,400. 1,400 is the number of jobs I've applied to. Across LinkedIn, Indeed, Naukri Golf, other recruiting sites, and just by filling out those stupid accounts on individual company websites. When I tell people this number, they genuinely cannot believe it. And then they do some stupid shit, like recommend a book or like a seminar to watch about job applying. And I'm like, you think I haven't tried every tactic in the book? Cold emails, cold calls, hot emails, mildly warm, slightly cold in the center type emails. It took me 6 months to get my last job, and that was around 700 applications, and I got lucky with that one because I went to the same school as the person who hired me. Coming up now on 6 months unemployed and 8 months of job searching, it's insane.
$1,000 for the first and the 15th.
Is that enough?
No. I mean, yeah, if you don't have bills to...
It's more like for E4 pay is $2,633.70. So it would be about $1,000 on the 1st and 15th after all withholdings, which is about an $800 per month increase since 2009, which is the last time we saw an increase in minimum wage for civilians. So for the most part, we're doing pretty good. So what bills do you have that makes you feel like that $2,000 a month is not enough? Because mind you, the military pays a whole lot more than just your basic pay. Let's get into that for a moment. Let's start off with food allowance, which is a little over $460 a month. So now we're jumping up to $2,460 And of course, unless you live in the barracks, if you're married or just live out in town without dependents, this is one of the most expensive places, which is in Honolulu, Hawaii. A family gets approximately $3,000 a month to live on for housing allowance. Or if you're single, $2,258 a month. And the average rent in Honolulu is a little over $2,000 a month. So when someone complains about how much they're getting paid on the 1st and the 15th, just remember, they're getting taken care of a whole lot more than they're letting on. So when they say they can't afford to live, it's because they're making poor choices.
Salary is needed to buy a home to afford a middle-class life today.
Yeah, I love how the economic situation is now so bad that even Fox News has to acknowledge the reality that a middle-class lifestyle or home is basically mathematically unattainable for most people. And then the very next thing this guy says after being asked what young people could do about it is the same financial responsibility, get your ducks in a row bull crap from the past 40 years. Like, I don't know who this guest is that they brought on, but that guy has to be ripped from all the mental gymnastics he's been doing.
I made a sale from my Etsy shop. Are you struggling to keep warm because you can't afford to put the heating on? Yep.
I seen this lady being stitched by somebody this morning, and she was promoting the women's Etsy page. The woman had one sale on her Etsy page, and she was so happy. So I went onto her profile to find out what was going on, and she was sitting with a hat and a scarf and like all wrapped up, and I was wondering why. So I've went down a few videos and I've came across this video, and I'm absolutely, see when I tell you I watched this with my mouth opened, like an absolute horror. That somebody in this day and age, or like a lot of people in this day and age, are having to live like that. That makes me so sad. And now I know why she was so happy to get the sale on Etsy, so she could get money to put into her electricity meter to get heating, because she's got electric heating. We just take so much stuff for granted, honestly. We really, really do. There's people.
I cannot stand how the news has been dogging Gen Z and calling them lazy.
How do I feel about this? Honestly, I do not agree with her. As a Gen Z young man, 21 years of age, for her to say that, I don't care if you're the highest payer, I don't care how much hours you work. We shouldn't be blaming a generation for where we're at, period. That's a poor excuse for, I'm not making enough, I work too much. I'm sorry, honey, that's just the reality. I work 4 hours a week, I don't complain. I do my job. I don't care if I don't get paid the most. I still do it. Because that's what I'm called to do. I'm a human being just like you. Oh, do I wish I had all the luxury? Do I wish I had all the money and time in the world? Oh yeah, I do. I wish I do. Not right now. Not where I'm at. Unless I go for it and actually find out what I want to be in life. What's so shocking is why people say Gen Z doesn't want to work often is because it's true. We expect too much. We are a lazy generation. We lack awareness, lack respect. I mean, it goes all the ways. I mean, there's like a long list I can go to, but I'm not going to go to it because you already know it. Because we already know it. We don't know better, fortunately.
Gen Z is prioritizing living over working because they've seen the legacy of broken promises.
Okay, but so are millennials. Just hear me out. My father is a boomer who had the same job for 26 years of my 32 years of life. In the last 5 years alone, he has moved to 3 different jobs. 10 years ago, he did not get why I had so much inconsistent work history on my resume. He did not understand why I could not save money. He did not understand why I had to go into debt to go to college. And we would get into confrontations about this all the time because he's like, I had the same job for 26 years. What's your excuse? Fast forward to my Gen Z little brothers going to the workforce at 16 and 17 recently. My dad does not ask me about work anymore. He doesn't ask me if I'm saving money anymore. He doesn't ask me how my credit is or anything. Because when my little brothers went into the workforce in the last few years, it all became very clear to my father that things were not the same as they were for his generation. And I just feel like this is something we don't talk about enough. So let's talk about it.
1983 is equivalent to 163.
I am all for talking about inflation and how inflation is through the roof right now, but we need to get this number right. First off, inflation rates for 2024 aren't even available until February 13th. And so, if we plug in the information for 2023 in December, $30,000 is only about $91,000. Now, that is still 3 times as much, which is crazy. And I did check that against multiple different sources here as well. So again, no hate to this guy, but really, if you're going to make a song about it, why not use the actual numbers? I couldn't find this information anywhere. I even Googled those two numbers against each other. I couldn't find anywhere that he found this information. And he's been called out for it in the comment section. But has not addressed it at all, so I don't know how to end this. Got a lighted flurf?
Like life expectancy. We go to people like my kids in their 20s and we say the rules have changed.
So here's the thing about Nikki Haley's proposal. If the retirement age is raised to 70 for our generation, we play along with it. And we take it one step further and say, fine, if the retirement age is now 70, every single politician who's over the age of 70 has to retire now. They do not get a choice. Either you retire voluntarily or we put you into psychiatric care because you are clearly not in your right mind. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. You're over the age of 70, you don't get to be in politics anymore. Sorry, you're retirement age. We can't trust that you're making good decisions anymore. You also seize all their assets and force them to live on what the average American has squirreled away for retirement. This entire policy suggestion is predicated by a party who is mostly over the age of 70 and realizes that they're not going to be able to keep extracting funds if we don't work ourselves to death. So just don't give it to them. Let them eat cake.